on behalf of MidCon Sri Lanka and in association with their partners for 20 long years, Medal Austria. We welcome all of you to this very special occasion, the roundtable discussion empowering the hearing healthcare sector in Sri Lanka. We have with us today our keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Mohan Kameswaran from Chennai, India, who will be the moderator for the roundtable.
For almost 20 years now, severely hearing impaired children and adults have been supplied with hearing implants that were manufactured in Innsbruck, the capital city of the federal state of Tyrol. These devices of the Medal company have changed the lives of hundreds of Sri Lankan children and adults, and they helped him to enter or return into the world of sounds. According to the title of this roundtable, its goal is an open exchange of thoughts between governmental decision makers as well as national and international hearing healthcare experts in order to identify the previous achievements and also the current challenges in the hearing healthcare sector of Sri Lanka. And we, of course, would like to initiate further multilateral collaboration in this field. But before we enter into a hopefully fruitful discussion, I would like to set the stage for a group of very talented young hearing implant users and their trainers, professional singers, who will show us that their capacities go far beyond only hearing and speaking. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you for your attention.
Feel the breeze as it begins to sing. Leaves are dancing in the wind. Golden rays shine through everything. Take a moment, breathe it in. I see you, I hear you. Feels like I can do anything. I sing as you listen. The whole world is all within me.
Sri Lanka is a success story, and it's a story worth emulating by many other countries in this region. There have been many challenges, ups and downs, as it's bound to be. But the ups have generally been more than the downs, and I think that's important. That's to keep that in mind. And in fact, no victory is sweet unless it's mixed with some debacles and challenges. Sri Lanka has advantages, which we don't have. It's a smaller total population and basically an educated population. And there's more equitable distribution of hearing care professionals across the country. And you have some of the very competent professionals. I know them firsthand. And I think some of the best professionals that you can ever get. Public information displays in public transport hubs like bus stand, railway stations and airports and so on. And keep this slogan simple. Deafness is silent, but it can be cured if detected early. So things like this, very simple, easy to understand messages. So in conclusion, today we have tremendous biomedical engineering advances which have created a whole lot of neural processes. They have helped in the rehabilitation of the hearing challenged and have helped make the transition from the world of silence to the world of sounds. So first of all, let me thank my panelists. We have a very, very distinguished panel. Two very, very experienced cochlear implant surgeons. Not just cochlear implant surgeons, but surgeons who have been involved with hearing restoration in various ways. And Professor Ranjit is also one of the most distinguished audiologists in this part of the world, and he's again been involved with very many projects, both in India and of course also in Sri Lanka. And
The number one thing is to have a national program. If you want to have, can have certain scattered programs here and there, but we have a national program, although it's not implemented in the whole of the country, it's in stages. So the issue is this, the screening test, and the people who want to do screening test are not medical or even neurological professionals, it's mostly nurses. And there are some instances where their training and the equipment run into problems. The second most thing is the most the important thing to realize: the people who fail the hearing screening, where they can go, and the comprehensive diagnostic centers are either under no human resources or sometimes without machines.
Actually, I would say 20 years back, almost 3 years was the age period we used to catch them up. Now in Sri Lanka, few of our hospitals running at the moment newborn hearing screening universal. Especially in Kandy Hospital, we are running a program, and even at the Pathirana Hospital, and of course must be in Colombo Castle as well, if I'm not correct. So we are catching up the early detection. But the problem, to make it universal newborn hearing screening, you cannot be just located to the main cities. You'll have to be, as you mentioned in your presentation, we need to outreach all the baby born.
the best point, as Dr. Atilgama said, for catching the babies is the time of vaccination. Because vaccination programs have been going on in many countries with more than 98-99% success. So this is a ready-made platform for us to catch. We have a health worker who is actually doing this job. So is it possible for this health worker to be trained to do the hearing screening? Because they can do that, then you've done the job. Would it not be possible that in the hospital before the baby goes, that you do it now? Because there you can have a relatively quiet environment.
Yes, sir. At hospital it's definitely possible to do it. Now again, the question is what test would you select to screen them? If you choose the autoacoustic emissions, and especially in countries like India and Sri Lanka, where noise is civilization, it's full of noise, it's too sensitive to do it. But if you do a test called automated auditory brainstem response, that's a little better to pick them up. And not only it picks up hearing loss, it also picks up in case the child has got a auditory neuropathy spectrum disorder. So that's also possible to check with that.
The point as you made, I think, is first of all to be aware of the problem. I think that's an extremely important statement to make, that it's not just the ENT surgeons who are involved, or even the parents. It has to go right across with all medical professionals, and even more important, the healthcare policy makers and decision makers, and who have to understand that investment into hearing screening is an extremely cost-effective investment for the country, because you get back. Yes,
Can I add something, Professor Kameswaran? Now, I would say, as far as the Sri Lanka cochlear implantation program is concerned, 15 years back, even though we happened to diagnose the profound deafness at newborn baby, we had a big question: are we going to break the bad news? Because we didn't have any hope. We didn't have any way to help them out. So we had to kept it silent, because the bonding, the relationship, whether the mother is going to have a kind of a denial. So that is the kind of a medical, the person's mind is still happening in Sri Lanka. So what my suggestion, as very correctly Professor Ranjit mentioned, good awareness program initiated by the Minister of Health, especially the slogan should be, as you very correctly mentioned, the hearing can be fixed. We can restore the hearing. Because if you're going to find something, you don't have a cure,
yeah.
better let it be, rather than going to, think over and over, then you are going to think all the bad things going to happen. The relations, mother, baby, and parent, and all these relations going to be in threat. So, as you very correctly mentioned, Professor Ranjit, the awareness should be initiated. To do that, now I think we are armed. In Sri Lanka, we have a couple of centers. We are running very good cochlear implantation programs. So we get the harvest, then we can go through the proper channeling and help them out.
What about the surgical services, surgeons? Do you think that you have enough surgeons trained in Sri Lanka now, or do you think there are
Yeah.
regions which still need support?
Yeah, I think now we got so many centers in Colombo. We have got LRH and the National Hospital, Kandy. There are two, Peradeni and Kandy, and Jaffna. They are doing implants. Batiklo, we have done. I was involved in some of setting up of those centers. Anuradhapura also they started, and at Sri Jayawardenapura in Colombo, and now the KDU. That's the KDU University in the Surgeon Kotlawal Academy. So they also have a cochlear implant program. So there are private hospitals doing that. The government started funding the program. I'm sure in time to come, there'll be a lot of cochlear implant surgeons in Sri Lanka.
Fine. Now, this brings us to the next question. I think it's a very important question. We have this implant, which is an expensive implant. You put in a few million rupee device into a child, and you give back the child hearing. And the child is now happy, the mother is happy, hearing, developing speech, language, and so on. And then, let's say a couple of years later, a disaster strikes, suddenly the device is not functioning, and then you go and check it out, and then you say that, this cable needs to be replaced, or this part needs to be replaced, and it's going to be another 150,000 Sri Lankan rupees. The parents don't have the money, So this child is now got a device which is not functioning because the child's parents can't afford that small little replacement, and therefore we are going down to the question of cost of maintaining hearing every year. Every device, no matter which device, no matter how wonderful it is, no matter even if the best scientific minds in the world have developed it, every device will fail. This is one of the golden rules. And every device will have to be serviced. So the only device which fails only once in a lifetime is the human body. Every other device fails, many times. So that being the case, how do we look up, how do we manage this recurring cost? This is a big question because it's a question which has happened in many, many parts of the world, and I'm sure it's happening in Sri Lanka too. You have now quite a big number of
Yes.
implantees. So a proportion of them are going to have this. So how do we address this issue? Yes, sir?
Yeah, that's one of the biggest question we are facing now, because we have dual program now, and the people are coming with within 5 years, sometimes 6 years, or even some 2 years, and especially the people who have undergone free implant program are probably a little more vulnerable because they don't sometimes care for the device as if you have spent on your own money. We have got even very funny incident, like I have got one patient who said the monkey came and picked up the outside device, the monkey snatched implant. So like that, and there are of course tragic things like the people lose the implants, it breaks, and children are we are in a humid country. The the protection is not very good. So with this, the number of people who are coming for the maintenance, or the what I call spare parts, has really gone up, and it's probably the capital. You need more money to maintain and to run the program. So still our government, although it's slow, they are committed to provide these spare parts. So although with certain delays and all that, spare parts are being provided. So we have to look for things like the low maintenance processors. Now, if you know with the wired processor and the magnet and everything going in different parts, the maintenance cost is more. but if in one particular solid one model, without the cables, that may be an answer over the
Yes,
lifetime.
yeah,
So that's
absolutely.
one.
So the less the parts, the less chance of failure.
Yeah, at least the number of parts are less.
Right.
The second thing is to have some kind of a fund or kind of a insurance scheme within brackets, so that we have to calculate the percentage of these replacements, and then decide on to forecast this amount of money is needed to run this program.
They might look here, the implant is about X price. Now even for the spare part is 3X, 3 times the price.
Yeah.
I'm going through this difficult time. So what my suggestion, I had been thinking over and over, if we can kind of maintain a system, the day you're purchasing, going through the procurement, if you can have kind of a specific period of time where you can have a rough approximation maintenance cost, and which also being included into the primary
original-
purchasing.
The country which is doing it very successfully is Nepal. Nepal has, it gives implants, mostly free, but charges a very small nominal amount from the parents. And in this regard, when the parent makes a small payment, let's say, it could be just 5,000 Sri Lankan rupees. But that 5,000 Sri Lankan rupees gives a sense of ownership to the parent. And let me ask Ranjit, what about the rehabilitation services? And do you think that how do we solve the problem? In our countries, they're very similar. Not enough professionals trained in rehabilitation, and they need to be handling far more than they can do compared to their counterparts in other parts of the world.
The good human resources, which of course is lacking, but we can build them on over a period of time. But the real problem is the patients don't have the time, money, and the attitude to attend therapy. They think the moment you get his implant done, the switch on is done, the child hears, my child is 100% perfect. So the problem is the distance and the cost. And this we face it even in India. And if you look at, if you allot 96 therapy sessions in a year for a child to attend, and you would find initially when we started the program, it was almost 30% of the students who attended 100% of the sessions. And later we identified the problem, we started our satellite centers, then it became 70% of the children who were implanted attended 100% of the therapy sessions. So either we go to the closer place and then start a rehab program to increase the footfall of these patients for rehabilitation, or the technology.
Yep.
The technology is the future. So we need to look at the tele-rehabilitation technology, which is customized for rehabilitating children with cochlear implants. So which will definitely have a greater impact and which can bridge this gap of the time, distance, and the attitude. And more importantly, we need to have some training sessions where we can empower the parents to train these children, because it's very difficult to find teachers for all these kids, and all the best teachers, rehabilitationists in the world are all the parents of the hearing impaired children. So empowering them, parent empowerment program, and the technology would definitely bridge a gap and create a great impact in improving the rehabilitation services.
How does singing work? Why does it work? How long does it take to practice singing to see the first results? And firstly, I want to tell you about how this method appeared. Beside the fact I'm a professional musician, I'm a mother of a deaf child. Sorry. Yes. Who can hear thanks to cochlear implants. Singing played the main role in his rehabilitation. Now he is 12. He is the winner of many international musical festivals and competitions, but it wasn't always like that. Rehabilitation after cochlear implantation is a long and complicated process which requires coordinated work of specialists and parents. Singing has become a unique tool that has allowed my son to incredibly develop his auditory and speech abilities. Singing makes speech more expressive, smooth, melodic, and emotional. I told you about our method of teaching singing to children with cochlear implant, and now our incredible singing teacher, Nicole, will tell you how the project Sing Together with MEDEL was implemented in Sri Lanka.
I was introduced to Svetlana, who told me about these songs that we created, and we started recording them in Austria. That was the very first step where I got involved. What we did with these songs was, as she already explained to you, we created songs that also implemented certain techniques and tools of speech therapy into songs that children would like to sing, with hand gestures, rhythm changes, melodic changes. We were able to teach children certain aspects of hearing, listening, and also in turn singing, speech, and breathing in a fun, playful manner.
Giving knowledge to the professionals, and then this knowledge can transfer to parents, as we do it also in this singing project. So we are launching this year a professional training in hearing rehabilitation, a so-called PCHR program. And it is a program, and I will skip it a little bit in the interest of time, that is dedicated for specialists in the field of hearing, audiologists, hearing speech therapists. It is a very practical program. The first session is a theoretical session, and then it is there are 4 follow-up sessions with a clinical part, with a practical part, and all these sessions are delivered on-site and online together. Following up on this rehabilitation program, we are also implementing in these countries, and this will be also the next step in Sri Lanka, a so-called professional certificate in family support, and let me also, or we call it also, MEDEL Family Curriculum Workshop. And I skip also some slides, but the more or less important things you find here. So our specialists are conducting 4 modules together with the specialists here, who can then transfer this basic knowledge to the parents of hearing impaired children. That means hearing aid users or cochlear implant users, and can work with the children at home. And I think all the talks that have been over the last 30 minutes show that the inclusion of these parents is a key for the success.
So we are almost at the end of this very productive and meaningful roundtable. Let me finally invite to propose the vote of thanks the Vice President of MEDEL, Mr. Alexei Ilchenko, to propose the vote of thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honored and privileged to get the opportunity to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. We are all of us are very thankful to them. Sri Lanka is blessed to have government which supports children like that, deeply understand the need of intervention and allocating the financial fund.